In January, the African Continental Free Trade Area was launched. We interviewed Wamkele Mene, the Secretary General of the AfCFTA Secretariat, during his trip to Angola. Welcome, Mr. Secretary General. With the launch of the AfCFTA, there is also the issue of the single passport to facilitate movement and a single currency for transactions. How far with this?
The protocol on the movement of persons is a separate instrument. It is not part of the African Continental Free Trade Area. It is an instrument that was negotiated separately. It has not yet entered into force. So it's not moving as quickly as we would like to see. That is because countries have to make their own considerations about ratifying it. But the underlying point that you make is absolutely correct, that we need to move quickly on free movement of persons to enable commerce and trade to be accelerated on the African continent. The single currency is something that is a long-term objective. I am not in a position to say when it will happen. What I can say is that in the interim, along with Afreximbank, we are taking this step of establishing a Pan-African Payments and Settlement Platform, which will be a digital platform for facilitating trade. And we believe that it is a step in the direction of eventually Africa having a single currency.
Are you talking with any banks about this?
We are in conversations now with African banks about trade facilitation, trade finance rather, a trade finance facility to support the implementation of the AfCFTA. I mentioned also the work that we are doing with our strategic partner, Africanews, to make sure that there is the finance component that supports the implementation of the AfCFTA. And we're looking at a range of different tools to facilitate the implementation of the AfCFTA. We're looking at digital platforms. We're looking at connectivity of small, medium enterprises and the aspect that you mentioned, and that is the work that we are doing to mobilize resources for trade finance to do so with African banks.
How can the experience of the European Union serve as a model or blueprint to make the AfCFTA work?
The European Union is probably the most successful integration story of our time. It has been very successful, but of course, as we've seen in recent years, there have been shortcomings in that integration model of the European Union. When we were negotiating this agreement, we looked at what is it that has worked best in the integration model of the European Union. And what we've observed is that taking a gradual approach, like the European Union did, taking a gradual approach to integration is the right thing to do. We also observed that ensuring that there is inclusivity in the development of the economic integration model, that all countries benefit from the integration that is undertaken, is also in the long term a factor that ensures sustainability of the regional economic integration objective.
What has been the impact of lockdowns and other restrictions due to COVID-19?
You know, it has had a very severe impact on Africa's economy. For the first time, there's a technical recession that Sub-Saharan Africa is experiencing for the first time in almost 30 years. But I believe that through implementation of the AfCFTA, aggressively implementing it, this is how Africa will come out of this recession that we are in. Regarding national efforts at implementation, many countries, as I said earlier, are now in the process of establishing the customs procedures that are required to make sure that when goods are crossing into their border, that they can apply the rules of the AfCFTA. That process takes quite a long time, and it requires a lot of effort. And so we have to be patient that countries are engaged in this process of establishing the customs procedures that are needed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.